What up, everybody? Scuff D here, and I gotta get this video in. It is Friday night, or Thursday night. It's Thursday night on the eve. It's Imperial Fist Eve. It's Fistmas Eve. Fistmas. It's Fistmas Eve. Oh, hashtag Fistmas. I'm stoked. Anyways, I want to make sure I get this video in now and get this recorded because the expansion is going to upload soon. And every time there's a change, expansion, new cards added, new data added, sometimes that throws off and corrupts some of the replays I've got saved. And I've been hanging on to some replays for a deck list that I've been trying to share. And just this last week with the podcast, with spoilers, with the hype train rolling through Hype City and the Defenders of Terra expansion coming, I have not had enough time to go through all the videos that I want to do, so I'm working on this one today. What are we looking at? We're looking at good old Ingethel. Ingethel has been long on my list to do since the changes to the Marks of Chaos. When the Marks of Chaos were changed, several months ago, I think it was about 2.5 months ago when we started doing the podcast, which, by the way, if you haven't checked that out, hit it up, check out the podcast. Check it out. It's on most listening platforms. We do that every Thursday, but we were talking about the power of the Marks of Chaos, and we've got a Warlord here who can give them one Mark of Chaos, for one energy on demand, but also she's also giving +1 health. Now, this win rate thing here, this is not accurate. I used to, prior to the buff, I used an Ingethel deck to do challenges for using unit abilities, and I had stuff in there like Priest of Thyros, Bile Cannon, just anything that had a use ability, I just threw it in there, and then I just had her just to meme things out. And, maybe you'll get a mark of Tzeentch that gave them stealth at the time. The majority of these wins, of these 36 wins, came from following her change. I would probably say about 34 of those wins are following this change to the Marks of Chaos. I took her to I think it was third place, or was it second? I think it was third place for Bar Night Legions. We did a little thing there, and I ran Chaos, and maybe it was second. I cannot recall. It was a blurry night. Bar Night Legions is going to be tomorrow night, by the way. I'll be recording that and putting that video up next week for you guys to see the shenanigans that we get into. No, not tomorrow night, Saturday night. So, yeah. April 24th, Bar Night Legions is the evens and odds. Anyways, this is where my mind is at. It's all over the place. The point is she's really good. The Marks of Chaos make her better because the Marks of Chaos got better. Her ability is very cheap. I really don't fiddle with her maintenance too much. This reduced maintenance friendly demons by 2, that's like, it's all right. It's icing on the cake. She's got 40 hit points, and she's actually one of the few warlords. She's the only epic warlord that has 40 hit points, but she also doesn't have whispers. Kind of like Luther. She doesn't have the drawbacks of having one less card in her hand either, so that's nice. There's a lot of different ways that you can make Ingethel. I'm going to show you a game here, and hopefully give you some prime example as far as just when I'm talking about how the improved Marks of Chaos and her ability enhance that, and then we'll take a look at the deck list and kind of explain why some of those cards were included, as well as some additional replays so you can kind of see how things just mesh and how they actually execute in game. Okay, I'm going to start off this game with Angron. Why Angron? Because Angron is about as straightforward as you can get. If you can beat an aggressive Angron with a non-aggressive Warlord, I figure that's always a good example. We've got a prime starting hand here. Alpha Row is very nice because he starts out stealth. He's a 3 attack. That's simple. Cygnus Fanatic is a key card. In general, this guy's going to get stronger and stronger the more of your troops die. in addition to gaining additional health from Ingethel with your Marks of Chaos, you can very easily have a Cygnus Fanatic with 6 health, and he heals fully when one of your troops dies. So he could have like 8 attack, 6 health, he hits, goes down, kill a lowly troop, and he's all the way back up to 6 health. Maybe he gets even stronger if you put some other tactics and things on him to increase his durability. Very strong card. Got 2. Why not? Let's just go for it. We know that he's going to die. We know that this guy's going to die, so let's up his health to 4. The Mark of Nurgle is the best mark you can get on him right away. Make his health, first turn he's out as a 6 health. He's going to have durability. He's going to have longevity. And then every mark after that is just going to be icing on the cake. I mean, that's pretty strong. I'll take it. I'll take it. We'll put on Jubok. Do another mark. We'll do a mark on Jubok. Make it hard. What we're doing here, this is what I want to do, but this is a standard strategy, not just with Ingethel, but with any game that you're playing. If you're not playing an aggressive warlord, you want to put targets on the board and force your opponent to deal with. He's got to put tactics. He's got to put troops. He's got to divert resources, including phase strikes, into your troops that he's not putting into you. And that's really important because that keeps you alive and in the game longer. It whittles down his resources. And the best thing about it is when you've got like a troop, this guy's cost 3 energy. And he's had to play 2 cards, using that no survivors, using his warlord attack. He still hasn't gotten rid of that 2 energy card, and I'm going to make that 2 energy card give me even more value by giving me a Taint of Chaos, by allowing me to increase my Cygnus Fanatic, doing extra damage here. I'm gaining more out of that. I've drained resources from him for that. If he has to throw a Seek and Destroy, or a fast unit to get rid of the Cygnus Cult Fanatic, this is a 2 energy card. This cost me nothing. The only thing I put on it was 2 Marks of Chaos. It's 4 energy at most. He's going to have to divert a lot of resources, or a resource he would rather not. In this instance, he diverted 5 energy worth of resources to get rid of my 4 energy investment. That's a good trade-off. That's a fair trade-off. I'm completely fine with that. We're going to look to kind of bait out, I think. Let's see if we can bait out a Conqueror. And in the meantime, buff up that Mark of Robo. We've got the nice stealth monster Pythos. And we've got health over him. Yeah, see, so we're baiting out that artillery strike, which is nice. And the Nurglings here are really kind of one of the only demons I run. I think there's like one more demon I run just because they are 0 maintenance with Ingethel. They're troops that I can keep recurring. And as we take a look at the deck list, they I'll show you, but they work really well with Cygnus Fanatic. Just like really well. Like if you get it juggled off and you can have it bouncing Nurglings every turn, your Cygnus Fanatic is going to get stronger and stronger. And if he doesn't have a mark of a Conqueror at this point, then he's going to be hurting. He doesn't, so that's good for me. That's good news for me. And even with that, normally you'd think, okay, well, this guy's disposable after he attacks. But with Ingethel, I can make him a 5 health and he can still be alive. I can still gain value out of that. And why not? Up the attack, the stats from another Mark of Chaos as well? Let's just go all in. That is a solid card. I want to be careful. You always want to be careful with Aggro. Especially when we get to this lethal range, because if he can set it up and he's got Breach or a Strike and Fade in hand, then he's going to be able to juggle, hit his Berserk, and see that right there? I think maybe he did that wrong. I think if he would have hit that on himself, or maybe he's just hoping to clear the whole board. before he goes for himself. Maybe that was the strategy all along, but he got rid of some threats. He doubles up into the Bloodthirst, and then he can attack for 10. He's going to heal. It was a little bit of a gamble, because if that hit Ingethel or that hit this guy here, he would have been stuck. It wouldn't have done him any good. This is a close game. It's about as close as they get. But the wonderful thing about Marks of Chaos is they provide buffs, and sometimes they're random, but sometimes they're just what you need. I could have tied the game with attacking with the Secretary and Ingethel, but I wanted to go for the gamble, and it paid off. He gambled, and she gambled, and we both won. So let's take a look at the deck list here. Now, you can go a variety of ways. The great thing about Ingethel, she's a neutral warlord. So there's pros and cons there, but the pro is really she, with her ability to give a Mark of Chaos, which is basically a buff. It's a stat buff as well as a potential trait buff. She can do that with anything. Vehicles, okay. Infantry, okay. Structures, if you want to. Stealth troops, Mechanicum, Imperial Army, Chaos. It doesn't matter. We've got a whole hodgepodge here. The majority of it is going to be Chaos cards, but not all of it. This is what I went with. Was more focusing on the Cultist and the Stealth troops. So, as I said here, I've got a couple demons here, and some of these are optional. I don't think you need to have all of them, but I found that they provide some options late game that your opponent may have exhausted their resources dealing with pumped up Cygnus Fanatics or Nisr Scouts. And because the resources are exhausted later on, you're able to bring out something like Teloth or Father Decay and really turn things around. Nagahyle is in here just for the memes. I won't deny this could be a better card. 100%, but I put it in here just for the memes because it's fun, and sometimes an extra mark of a Taint of Chaos is not bad. But 2 Nurglings. I've got the 2 Nurglings. So the thing with Nurglings, like I said, they die, they've got backlash, they go back up to your hand because of Ingethel's ability. You're not affected by their maintenance whatsoever. You can put a Nurglings out, have it at 1 health, or your opponent has got a 3-attack Warlord. You drop Cygnus Fanatic the next turn. Kill your Nurgling, he becomes a 2-3. You put a Mark of Chaos on him, and now he is a 2-3 plus, whatever that's going to be. Does that increase his health? Does that increase his attack? And then you keep putting those Nurglings out, and every time a Nurgling dies, he heals fully, and he gains +1 health. He is not the driving force of the deck, but he is a mini win-con and pressure cooker all by himself, this little lowly 2-energy guy, because if your opponent cannot deal with him, he becomes a monster, and then they have to divert precious resources like a hard removal. If they have to throw a Perfection's Flight or an outflank against a lowly Cygnus Fanatic, he's done his job, in addition to whatever attacking he's done. And that's easier to do than you would think, because Ingethel is adding that 1 extra health. So at the very least, regardless of what other Mark of Chaos he gets, he's going to have a 4 health for 3 energy. That's very nice. So that's a very good card to have. I have 1 extra Taint of Chaos in here, because I have found that often just being able to play the Taint of Chaos from hand in a clutch situation, whether that is to create a greater demon or to give a particular buff to troops, is very handy. So I recommend it. I don't recommend having 2, because I think there's other ways to create them. For instance, for me, like creating them, I use the Brotherhood, right? These guys, as a relentless, if they're not treated, they're going to give me Taints of Chaos, and because Ingethel can put a Taint of Chaos and increase their health, as you saw in the last game, they could very well stay around for a turn or 2. So these guys have potential as well. Alpha Row, pretty clear example. He's going to have 1, maybe 2 uses. If he gets a Mark of Nurgle on him, then he becomes a 3-4. And when I say Mark of Nurgle thanks to Ingethel. So he becomes a 3-4, which means he's going to survive. And then you can put another Mark of Chaos on him on the following turn. Then maybe he's a 4-5, or maybe he's just doing extra damage each turn that he lasts, and your opponent has to divert resources. Some matchups, against certain warlords who can do widespread damage. Sardu Layak, Cashin Vaughn, Ferrith Redloss. Those guys are going to kind of eliminate the effectiveness of this guy by himself. You may have to divert a couple extra resources, but those are few and far between. Nisha Scouts operates the same way, but they have a higher health, lower attack, but they also have sneak attack, so they're not taking health on the attack. Very easy to pump these guys up. That shouldn't go without saying, and because I've got so much infantry in here, as you saw, we've got both the Secretary Axiarch, I've also got Ackley and Wordsinger who can turn the tides of battle. And I think I would have won that Barnite Legions had I remembered that she gives +2/+0 to her Chaos Infantry troops. I was thinking she gave +1/+0 in the last game. Why +1/+0? Because I heard a little something. I don't like doing that. It's Barnite Legions. Drunk plays happen. Akratrez, again, this guy has twofold. He's a legendary, so if you don't have him, he is a good card to get in general, but he can heal your warlord for the one energy. Because Ingethel can add 1 health to him for 4 turns while he's getting Marks of Chaos, you're essentially prolonging his usage. Normally you get 2, if you're lucky, 3 uses out of him, but with Ingethel you can get multiple uses out of him, and at the very end, instead of killing him, turn him into a greater demon. The power of having these stealth troops, you don't have to use them the turn after. If you feel the pressure's on, for instance, a widespread damage deck like we saw with that Angron deck, then you want to go, 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 go. But if you're going against a slower build or a slower deck and you want to pump out a demon early on, you've got that Taint of Chaos in your hand, it's entirely possible. Entirely possible. Jubok is another threat, directs traffic away from your warlord, and the fact that Kai can potentially make him a 6 health Jubok at 4 energy is nice. The sorcerers are in here for some diversion and distraction as well. I've got Informer Network to break the stealth. Now, Warrior Lodge is the unexpected here, because I'm giving out so many Marks of Chaos. Even if I only have 2 troops with the Mark of Chaos, I suddenly have a +2/+2, plus whatever they've already got from the Marks of Chaos. And usually, that's easier to do than you would think. I only have 1 of it in here, but very rarely do I this is going to do anything for me, because at the very least, my Warlord can give a Mark of Chaos, as well as additional health, and then I can turn a troop into +2/+2, so it has a lot of potential, but this gives it to all my troops. So if she spreads her loves around, and she sets up a board with 2 or 3 troops, I can suddenly have a very nice board. Anybody who's played Principia Bellicosa, Unbreakable Focus, Strategic Mastery can attest to the power of having +2/+2 on numerous troops. I don't think I have to explain that too much more, but it's a good card. It's surprisingly good in her deck if you build the deck to really allow for multiple Marks of Chaos. Artillery Strike and Defensive Satellites, I've just got in there for some extra spread, and because they're neutral cards, I feel like they fit in. Those could easily be replaced. Renegade Knight can gain with his Duplicitous, as well as coming out at 6 energy and gaining a free Mark of Chaos from Ingethel. It ramps up the speed of getting a demon or having a powerful troop on the following turn. In the same way that Monster Pythos has got stealth and a 6 attack, no extra marks given, but you can throw down a Mark of Chaos like we saw that last game and turn the monster into a bigger monster. And then Corrupted Arcology. I talked about Teloth already, but Corrupted Arcology, I would probably trade out Nogheil for a second Corrupted Arcology, because it's debatable, but Corrupted Arcology is good. It's good with Ingethel, even if you get a junk 3-cost cultist troop, and there are a couple, but there are some good ones too. There are some really good ones that you can already basically doubling down on what you've already had out there, right? And it forces your opponent to deal with the arcology and the troop instead of Ingethel. That's always a good strategy. Put your resources there. Throw your tactics there. Do your phase strikes there. Use your troops to attack these things. Leave my warlord alone and let me focus on my stealth troops and give them buffs and buy me time to play my tactics and set up what I want to set up. Maybe I summon a Devourer of Worlds. Maybe I summon Yuria the Seducer. Maybe I summon Father Decay. Father Decay, speaking of which, is in the deck because with his Maintenance 4 being reduced to a Maintenance 2, I can use him multiple times, like a lot, like one extra time in a turn before he attacks. He's got huge health, and I've got so many troops. I've got so many, not just so many troops, I've got so many good troops, right? I've got 25 troops that I feel really comfortable in. Like, at the very least, the worst troop that he could bring in. The worst troop that he could bring in is an Alpha Row. And Alpha Row's got stealth, so it's not a rally effect. There's nothing on here, any of these guys that are gaining rally. If Father Nagahile creates 4 Brotherhoods, he just creates from my card pool. That's good enough for me. That's something. Or 3 Acleon Wordsingers, or maybe an Acleon and 2 Cygnus Fanatics. I've suddenly got a buffed board. If he creates troops that my opponent had that died this game, that's even better. Father Decay is underrated. I understand why he doesn't get played a whole lot at 9 energy. It's very steep with the Maintenance 4, but for Ingethel, it's a nice fit. This isn't a perfect deck. I want to make that clear. This is just the deck that I've played and I've enjoyed a lot of. And as I've shown you, has gotten a lot of wins. It's gotten a lot of wins, and it works very effectively. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more games, and hopefully kind of show some of the plays, some of the luck, and then maybe talk about some of the flaws and things that could be improved in the deck, as well as other potential ways to build Ingethel. Okay, so this game here is against Magnus. Now, that's a dangerous game. That's a dangerous game because, Magnus can be a long game player. The deck that I've got, I consider a long game. So I'm going to give Kai a little juice. Pump his health up, and then I'm going to be able to use Kai to give me tactics and hopefully give me some options. Draining some resources. My opponent's going to dump a lot into him to try to get rid of him, which is nice. He's going to throw out his own Kai. Okay. Alright, well, that is what it is. We'll take that outflank. We're going to need that. But another reason why this particular matchup is tricky is because, as you saw in my deck, a lot of lower health troops, 2 health, 3 health, maybe 4 health at most before we get into the higher tiers. Easily wiped out by an Astral Warfare and a Defensive Satellites, which is a common tactic of Magnus. That's something that we just use a lot of. So if his Psyker points rank up higher, I'm going to have some trouble. But, having a 6 attack Kai, like, that's precog that he's going to have to throw a tactic at. I'm okay with that. I could even just go one step further. You know what? Like, do we do the Greater Demon here? I don't know if I do the Greater Demon this turn, but like a free Greater Demon to force him to play Ashen Blow kind of feels worth it, right? Nope, I don't. I'm going to stick with Legion instead. Maybe that'll come out a little more effective. We'll use him, not attack for 6, and then we'll go for the Greater Demon. There we go. So, if he doesn't have an Ashen Blow and exhaust his 6, then we're looking pretty. He's buying a turn. He's giving can attack to my demon, banking on that maintenance, I think, which is fine. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. Feeling okay with this setup currently. And we can bounce his Kai, put a Mark of Chaos on our troop, and then clear out the other flanker. Turns Melgator, just a lowly Melgator, into a 3/5 or 2/5 with the Secretary out. But still, because he's at 0 attack, that's going to get value. Yeah, feeling good. And he's using his power cards early here. He's looking to buy as much time as he possibly can against Yuria, which is not even a card that I played. It's just a card that I created. We're looking good. Can we stay looking good? Because that threat with his Psyker energy is always going to be a problem. At this point, he could use his ability, and he could use like an Octo, and then my area is nothing. And right now, he is just buying himself time. Now, Maintenance comes in nice. I'm going to create a second copy because I don't think this Yuri is going to work out too well. So why not? Really force down on it. Let's get rid of some stuff. Let's clear out the board. If he does do an Astral Warfare, it'll get rid of one, but it won't get rid of the other. I'm not going to have much energy though on the following turn, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. And when I saw that card, I figured, okay, so he's going for a Reckoning. Alright, well, then that's fine. He's not going to get it. The amount of high attack value that I'm going to be able to throw at him is going to be pretty sufficient to negate his chances of getting a Reckoning. Yeah, I'm good with that. So, one Ashen Blow, one Astral Warfare. I don't think he could have gotten it saved up to Astral Warfare, quite frankly. I think he was forced to respond to the troops that I had out there and use his energy. He just didn't draw what he had to. But look at how many cards he's got in his hand. Like, it's just putting the pressure on with the threat of either a demon or, high health troops that are going to stick around for a while. Very, very comfortable feeling. So this one here, I think we go against a standard Alfarius, if I remember correctly. This is a standard Alfarius game, which is nice. Those are few and far between, but it's a hit hard and hit fast strategy. Anytime you're playing Alpha Legion, don't keep stuff in hand. Put down what you can. If he's going to buff my stuff, great. Or if he's going to try to, stun my stuff, let's have my demons not on the table. Or if they are, at least it won't affect me too much with the maintenance and them being stunned, but it still hurts a little. But I do want to put some pressure on. We don't want Brotherhood giving us tactics. I want to be able to build a board a little bit. Giving him extra health with her ability, and he still gets to keep that Survivor 1 is nice. And see, when I see him doing that, like, I know, okay, we're going for a different build, which is good. He's going to try to make me draw cards. Let's turn that against him. Let's really make him pay for that. Let's spread. We've got Warrior Lodge out. Let's spread some Marks of Chaos around, right? I can give him Mark of Chaos, or I can give him Mark of Chaos and then follow it up, and then I suddenly have these two guys at +2/+2, and I'm willing to take the one ping that's going to cause. But I gotta get rid of this. I can't have multiple traps, so we gotta get rid of that. Right? That's no good. That's no bueno. Let's play some cards from hand. Let's put some more troops on the board to really make him consider his options. Make him consider himself. Keep my hand low. So if he hits me in a stun area here with, the Thunderhawk, I've still got troops that can attack. I've still got tactics in my hand. Also got a nice stealth troop that'll make it harder for him to stun things. We're up 13 health here. He's banking on traps at this point, which, that's not great. Like, I know he's trying to play traps a little differently. He's got one that goes off effectively, which is good for him. The problem is with traps, #Don'tPlayTraps, is you can't get it guaranteed. Like, okay, so you kill one of my traps, now you made one of my guys stronger. And I think we're going to get really nasty here on this turn. We've got 6 energy, we've got 3. We could play row, we've got a Mark of Chaos, so we're going to get 2 troops tainted. Spread it around, baby. And put down an extra troop. Play 2 cards from hand. Make everybody strong. And he went from 25 health to, yeah, to not a lot. Just like that. Not even close. Not even close to play a heroine. Not even with a abandoned supplies or his counterattack. That's just not going to happen. And this 2 energy guy is doing a lot of work. Got some stuff invested in him, sure, but it could have easily have gone into him. Simple game. Games can go very quick. You can get turns like that. You can get games like that where you get the Cygnus Fanatic just driving the board, or you can get games that go longer and you pull out a clutch demon. It's really fun. It's really fun. I enjoyed playing Ingethel for memes and for challenge decks just to throw her out there because she doesn't get played a whole lot. But following the Marks of Chaos change, she got a lot better and she's more fun to play as a result of it because you feel like it's thematic. You feel like you're actually playing this guide to the warp. Here you go. Look at all these gifts that you can receive. Look at all these bountiful blessings. Now, as I said with my deck here, this is not a perfect deck. There are several cards in here that I would recommend changing myself. I would recommend Nagahyle, Teloth, reconsider, maybe even reconsider Renegade Knight and or one of these Artillery Strike or Defensive Satellites. You may want to reconsider a Cultist Sorcerer. That's up to you. And then if you're not doing that many Cultists or Chaosy troops, then maybe Warrior Lodge isn't for you. If you're doing more demons, then Warrior Lodge isn't going to do anything because you can't give Marks of Chaos to demons. That's a trap. Do not fall for the trap to play demons heavy in Ingethel. You want troops that you can put Marks of Chaos on. That's what you want to do. So Chaos has got their troops, right? They've got Acleon, they've got Cygnus Fanatic, they've got Aggro Trez. There's some good troops there to put Marks of Chaos on. Let's just go into it. You could do also, you could do the Chaos Acolytes. Those are okay, but they've got sacrifice and you want them to get sacrificed, right? You could put in the Cygnus Adept, which is not bad. You could also do the Horus Cultist. Horus Cultists are a great troop to throw that on and give these guys some additional health so that they can create more Marks of Chaos for you. I don't have them in the deck, but they're common and they're easily enough to put in there. It's an option, right? You could put in the Watchers in the Dark because they've got stealth. They have a way to jam, and you can increase their health so you don't have to worry about them dying so easily. You can create Outraged Noble, who's going to bring in your infantry troops even cheaper. It's a little bit more setup involved there, but that's totally an option. And then if all else fails, like if you wanted to, you could do, not him, Medale. Medale is neat, right? If you just want to, when you have that many infantry, he's a 6/6, which is a nice body. You won't have to worry about this maintenance, and you're going to get Taints of Chaos, more Taints of Chaos. So that's something to consider. Not a recommendation, but that's a card like instead of Teloth, maybe Medale is a better fit for you, or Sirach. Yeah, it's up to you. There's no wrongs. That's just if you're going with the Chaos build. Like I said, Ingethel is she's a very versatile creature. She's a creature of chaos, so she can do many things. Mechanicum is a great build for neutral warlords in general, and I don't think we've already got the Secretary Axiarch in there. Took out Melgator, but Melgator could go back in the deck, and just having the Alpha Thetas, Laz Ta'uls, Sagittarius squads, and being able to put a Mark of Chaos on Vorax, that's nice enough, right? That's pretty good. But what if you gave Ingethel Death of Innocence? What if you give her this card that every Mechanicum troop you put in play gets a Mark of Chaos? So then not only are they automatically getting a Mark of Chaos, but then she can give them a second Mark of Chaos as well as +1 health. You don't need to have 2 Death of Innocences in your deck, or at least applied, I mean, if you did, that's crazy, but that's a big shift. That's a lot of devotion to do that. You could do it though. I would recommend not. I would recommend just having one, and then maybe having a command bridge in your deck if you want to build it that way, so that you get your Death of Innocence and get that on as soon as you possibly can. And then make sure that you load up heavy on the Mechanicum troops, whether that is Delta Omegas, Skitarii Protectors, some nice cards that jam enemy troops. Eta Kappa should be fairly easy to actually use effectively. And then probably a good Tagmata formation, Urtzi, Doombringer, the big heavy hitters, the classic stuff. The more Mechanicum stuff you have, the better they're going to be with Death of Innocence and with Ingethel putting Marks of Chaos on them. Borax especially. That's just psh. Like, can you imagine, like, you put out that and then you get the Mark of Siege, and now you've got a 4/4 flanker with the Death of Innocence, and then you put another +1 health, and you get the Mark of Nurgle, and then all of a sudden it's a 4/7 bloodthirst flanking troop that will probably survive, and you can put Marks of Chaos on the following turn. That is tasty. That is tasty. So you can do it that way. If you really want to, go back into the infantry array and say, okay, well, what other troops on the chaos, or not the chaos side, the Imperial Army side do we want to stick around? Malkiel seems good, right? He's going to give you extra energy. He's easier to stick around in the same way that a stealth troop is. He might be a good benefit for put some Marks of Chaos on. Maybe we want to throw some Marks of Chaos on the old Philisian 5th Airborne, or some McCormick's Reapers. Turn those guys into a really annoying force. Or Duke Mortimer. Why not? The Mordecai and Merit's Mercenaries are okay for this. A little high cost. Mordecai are more than Merits because, I mean, depending on the build, like, I think you're going to not play as many cards for a Merit to benefit. Whereas Helios, you can just put one Mark of Chaos, give it additional health, and you're already off to the races. And maybe like an Ogre Sergeant, like for a closer. Personally, I like Father Decay or a 6-drop Monster of Pythos that allows for a lot more commons, but totally possible. I think the Mechanicum build is a good build. I like the Chaos build too, though. I don't think you can go wrong either which way, because you're going to have a good deck. You're going to have a fun time as long as you've got the right supporting cards. Like I said, key cards here for this deck particular are Warrior Lodge, because I'm going to have lots of Marks of Chaos. I'm going to have lots of troops. That goes without saying. Demons, not entirely necessary. If you do a Mechanicum, key card, Death of Innocence, Command Bridge, and then probably, I cannot deny, if you got Forbidden Protocols, this is just a fantastic card, because if that vehicle already has a Mark of Chaos on it, it's going to get even crazier. This is just great. So yes, very fun stuff. She's a really good warlord. She's always been okay, like, meh, it's okay, Marks of Chaos, they're kind of random. Well, they still are random. You don't know what you're going to get. But now you know you're going to get a buff. You're going to get a stat increase in every which way, shape, and form. 3, well, I can't even say 3, like 100% you're going to get +1 health. And that's really the kicker. I think more than the Marks of Chaos increasing is nice. It's very nice. The +1 health is really the kicker for me, because 2 of the marks already add health. So 50-50, you're going to increase the health even further than that. And at the very least, you're given a Mark of Chaos, which increases their attack and then their health by 1. I can't say enough good things. I enjoy the deck. So that's it. I hope that's inspiring. I hope that's something to wet your whistle on. This may be the last non-Imperial Fist video / deck I do for a while, because it is Fistmas Eve, and I wanted to make sure I get this out there before these replays get lost or corrupted or whatever the case may be. I've got a few more things to try to record, whether they're short blurbs or full replays, I don't know, but and I hope you guys are out there hyped, staying hype. I hope you guys have a Merry Fistmas. And until next time, keep playing Legions, and we'll talk to you later.